Hey heroes, Kolz here. Today I'm going to be walking you through the best heroes for Nightmare Mode. And as you know, I love Nightmare Mode. There are heroes that are exceptionally well suited for Nightmare Mode. The most important things you're looking for are just ways to survive. You're not trying to kill a horde, you're just trying to make it through the end of the chapter. And so with that in mind, you're looking for innate slows, innate stuns, and the big one is alternative forms of healing. Some heroes have built-in ways of healing, and that makes them incredibly strong. And it's not healing the way you think it is. And so with that in mind, we'll walk through all of the heroes and heroes versus swords. Okay, Monk. Monk is part of the warrior faction. Also kind of interesting tidbit here, factions matter a lot more. Faction bonuses can give you a big advantage in Nightmare Mode. Either one, just having them, and then two, if they're like additional forms of defense. And the warrior guild not only has some of the best heroes for Nightmare Mode, but also has some of the best faction bonuses, because they're not just damage focused, they're survival focused. Monk is very strong in Nightmare Mode. He's got plus movement speed, and he's got evasion built into his kit, plus he's got invulnerability for the first 120 stages of Nightmare Mode. He's very strong. Santa, unfortunately, usually very high up on my list because he can farm. He can't farm in Nightmare Mode, so he doesn't work. Frost Mage is interesting. He's got some freezes built into his kit, which makes it possible, at least in the early parts of Nightmare Mode, to survive. The Mage faction is very weak for Nightmare Mode because they don't have any additional benefits, and he doesn't have any armor or any kind of survivability built in beyond the freeze. Hotbite just does damage, so nothing interesting there. Geomancer just does damage. Blade Master can't turn invincible during his ultimate in Nightmare Mode. It's disabled, so he's of no use. Fire Mage, not any good. Just damage and not enough damage. Rose Mother has some slows built in, so that could be of potential use. The Reaper is really funny. The Reaper's ultimate sucks all of the horde into him, and so you think you're gonna be like, oh man, no. They'll get you before you get them, and it's been tested. And it's pretty funny. A Sentry Specialist is an interesting one. Sentry Specialist is very strong, and the way her Sentry works is it draws the horde in, and so you can survive while the horde are attacking your Sentry. She also has plus to movement speed, and she has plus armor. She is actually a viable contender for using in Nightmare Mode, especially when she hit 3-star and you hit 4-star in her weapon. She actually might become kind of like S, you know, with 4-star weapon and 3-star in her forge, she's actually like A-, S-. Sorry, A+, S- kind of range. She's actually really strong for Nightmare Mode. You're not looking to do damage, it's just the fact that her Sentry will absorb so much damage and then eventually start killing off horde that you can level up to. Surprisingly good hero for Nightmare Mode. Dark Ranger, poor guy. He does have a slow built into his kit, which is nice, but not ideal. Knight, so Knight's interesting case. Knight, you need 4-star forge, and post 120, when you get a set 9 movement speed, it negates his biggest weakness, which is his lack of movement speed. You need 4-star forge for Knight in order for him to work in Nightmare Mode. The pushback from his sword will allow you to survive. And then I've cleared 201. He was the first one I cleared 201 with, so you can do end stage Nightmare Mode with Knight. Knight is a great all-around hero. Warlock offers nothing for Nightmare Mode. Assassin offers nothing for Nightmare Mode. Oracle. So Oracle's the kind of thing here, like just again, a good hero that does a ton of damage. You might be able to squeak through Nightmare Mode with her, but she's not going to offer anything interesting. So Tide Mother, I don't know her name, Tide Warden, the Tide Warden, the same kind of thing as Rose Mother here. I don't own any of these heroes. I don't own these two heroes, unfortunately, so I can't like go and practice Nightmare Mode with them, but their kits read really well. For all the slows that they have, think of slow as like another form of movement speed for you, right? Slowing horde is the same as you moving faster, and they both have slows in their kit. So I can see that working, but I've never personally tried. Circuit Breaker, uninteresting. I don't know why he exists in the game, just to use your hero clash tokens. So Clockwork Mage again shows up. Her innate slows let you clear out content in this game just fantastically well. She can clear all of Nightmare Mode. There are people in my guild that literally main Clockwork Mage and use her for everything and have beat all 260 chapters of Nightmare Mode with Clockwork Mage. So you can beat the game with her. She is not as easy as some of the other S-tier heroes in Nightmare Mode, so she's probably going to end up like S-, but she's very, very good. Spirit Shaman needs a rework. Nutcracker. So Nutcracker is a fun one. I am working on leveling up his forge, and right now I have it at 2 stars, which give him stun. I was able to clear Nightmare Mode 260 with Nutcracker, but like 260 is not incredibly hard. His level 2 forge gives him a stun, and he just has an innate ton of damage, so you need to have him at 2-star. I think like A- tier. He's actually stronger than you think, but you do need the forge, and you do need him at 2 stars. Paladin, he's good early for Nightmare Mode. later in Nightmare mode, the horde get to him and he can't really survive. He doesn't have any innate healing is his big weakness. Actually, let's move Nutcracker down here too. The issue with these guys is there's no healing. With these B tier. So Void Raven, interesting case. Void Raven is, this is the first time I think I've ever had him not in like D or F tier. In Nightmare mode, especially early, I used Void Raven to clear levels, I think it was 40 through 100 pre-nerf. Void Raven has armor and movement speed built into its kit. And the way the marks work, you actually get to take advantage of how the Void Raven's kit works because you hit the same horde over and over again. And so I ended up using Void Raven to clear a whole bunch of stages. Maybe not the best hero for the content, but like plenty good. I can get you through the early stage. Energy mode is interesting. Okay, so this is the first time we're seeing healing. And again, healing in Nightmare mode isn't like healing up your health bar, it's shields. If you have a shield in Nightmare mode, that counts as HP. And so Astral Mage is actually very strong because it has built-in healing, plus her kit also has some slows. So that combination makes her actually very strong for Nightmare mode. And I cleared up to level like in the 160 range with her. I hadn't really tried since then, but up until that point, so like 120 and 160, I was clearing Nightmare chapters. Maybe not the hardest ones, but definitely clearing them with the Astral Mage. Elsa, kind of like this, she's got some freezes, and so like you can probably use her early in Nightmare mode, but she won't like excel. Leprechaun is a fun case. His instant kill still works in Nightmare mode, and so you can end up taking out a whole bunch of horde. And he's great for farming in Nightmare mode, especially some of the more farmable levels. You can get a ton of gold. He's got movement speed and armor kind of as like his default kit. And so he'll let you progress through Nightmare mode just fine. Instant kill is disabled, so Pyro Queen's of no value. Artificer's up here, he does a whole ton of damage. You can clear out Nightmare mode content with him because he just does so much damage. Crystal Mancer is not used for this type of content. Rocket Guy, same thing. Barbarian's not bad. Barbarian's the same kind of class here as Void Raven. He's got movement speed and armor built into his kit, lets you survive. Unfortunately, the Spirit faction is not very strong and it doesn't offer you kind of like additional hero benefits. Necromancer is very good in Nightmare mode. You can use the minions to tank the damage and you survive. I have a bunch of guildmates that use Necromancer through Nightmare mode. I unfortunately don't own the guy. I really wish I did. I have over 350 shards for this dude. He is my first adventure hero and I didn't always do my adventures and I didn't get him. He's like really, every time I see him, I'm really sad. Dark Paladin, also very strong for Nightmare mode. A lot of armor built into his kit, a lot of movement speed built into his kit. My guildmate in my old guild cleared all of Nightmare mode with Dark Paladin, like his go-to hero. Dark Paladin, I think he was a sleeper pick. He's a very strong hero. Nightshade guy is not interesting. Dragon Empress isn't interesting. Big Game Hunter is interesting. Soul guy. Bunny unfortunately can't do much. All right, Werebeast is up here. Werebeast is my current go-to for Nightmare mode. I created the Werewizard build. You can check that out in one of my other videos. Werebeast can carry you from 1 to 201 in Nightmare mode. There is a way to beat 202 in Nightmare mode, but then I used him again for 203 through 260. Werebeast is almost S plus actually, so he's higher than Clockwork Mage. S tier Nightmare mode. He's got armor built into his kit, movement speed built into his kit, actual healing built into his kit, shields built into his kit. I mean, like everything you could possibly want in a Nightmare mode hero he's got. Plus he's part of the Warriors faction, which again is a super strong faction. I already said about him, he's right here. Again, Shield Warden. So Shield Warden used to be S plus. He's now more S minus. In the later stages of Nightmare mode, they up the movement speed of the horde, and so you get hit a lot, and he can't regenerate his shield. So the big benefit to the Shield Warden, besides the fact that he freezes everything all the time, is that his healing is based on his shield. His shield regenerates after 3 seconds of not being hit, and that's just free health. And so he doesn't get all of that additional healing that he used to just get for free. So he's still very strong. I've cleared things above 200 with him, but he's just not S plus tier the way he used to be. He's more like S minus E tier. I put him below Werebeast, but still a very, very good Nightmare mode hero. And so if you have him, use him. Brewmaster, sad. Bavarian doesn't work for Nightmare mode. Druid doesn't. You know, this guy. All right, Warlord. He's S plus. So Warlord is the single best Nightmare mode hero. To make him absolute beast mode, where the point where you can like almost AFK farm Nightmare mode, you need 3-star Warlord and then you need 5-star Forge. That makes him essentially be able to AFK. Before that, you're gonna need to pay attention, but you can clear all the content. He is the only one that can consistently clear 202. If you have him, you can beat the game. It's all because of his healing in his Forge, plus all of his takiness from being part of the Warriors faction. He's S plus tier. This Tinkerer guy is actually A plus tier in Nightmare mode. Whenever I do a tutorial on how to use Nightmare mode, I recommend using the Tinkerer because he's great and everybody has him. So if you have the Tinkerer, you can clear through 1 through 120 in Nightmare mode, no problem. He has so much movement speed built into his kit that he can just survive through everything. And then the last 3 here are just kind of like generic, again, generic damage heroes. These aren't of any interest. So let's review kind of what I have here to make sure that it's right. So Warlord is definitely S+, best hero for Nightmare mode. Werebeast is S. You can clear 99% of Nightmare mode. It's just, can you clear 202 with him is the only question. Shield Warrior, incredibly strong, same kind of thing as Werebeast, but maybe can't quite hit past maybe the harder levels of Nightmare mode. And you'll notice too that these all 3 are Warrior faction, right? So they all like amplify each other's effectiveness. Clockwork Mage, again, is her slow, and she also has built-in movement speed, plus her ultimate gives her more movement speed, plus her ultimate procs off of movement speed. And so you can actually get her like zipping a little faster than I think they intended in some of the Nightmare mode content. You can use her to navigate basically everything. Very, very strong, but she doesn't have any innate healing. So you have to like pay more attention to how you use her and kite her, because if she does get hit, you're not gonna be able to heal through it. Whereas these first 3 have innate healing that let them heal up. Tinkerer is great for 1 through 120. Everybody has him. He's a A+ hero for Nightmare mode. Sentry Specialist is the sleeper. Like you have to like figure out how to use her Sentry effectively. But at 3-star Sentry Specialist and 4 or 5-star Forge, she's actually like maybe like S- tier. I mean, it's a really expensive investment in one hero, but she gets really strong at that point. Monk, again, part of the Warrior faction, is excellent in the early part of Nightmare mode. Knight, if you can get through wave 1 and get your sword evolved into Rune Sword, you can clear most every stage in Nightmare mode, but you do need 4-star. Astral Mage is great because she has innate healing via her shield. You can run definitely 1 through 120 with her and even some higher levels. Leprechaun's surprisingly fun for Nightmare mode because he can actually kill stuff with his skills and with his ultimate. Necromancer lets his minions, kind of like Sentry Specialist, deal with them. And Dark Paladin is just a tanky boss man that lets you survive through Nightmare mode, at least through 120. I again, sorry, don't own him, so I haven't played with him past that, but I know people in my guild that have gone exclusively with him really high into Nightmare mode. All of these heroes generally have armor and move speed built into their kit somehow, but they lack healing is the big issue once you start getting down into this tier. So that's my rough tier list of Nightmare mode. I'm sure I forgot something or glossed over something. You could probably make some arguments about this tier up here. But what you're generally looking for is armor, movement speed, and self-healing. And the self-healing secret there is shields. So anything that has either invulnerability shield that actually works in Nightmare mode, or a shield that regenerates by itself is how you heal, and you can get through the content and take the damage. Werebeast is my personal favorite. Warlord is the best one by far. And if you get really good at kiting, the Clockwork Mage can take you places. Yeah, I'm Kolz. I'm a high-level HvH player. You can check out my website, hvhlounge.com, for the written companion to this tier list. Please subscribe to the channel if you like the content. And remember, always do your adventures. I put on a nice shirt for you guys today. Looking pretty dapper. I got a haircut. All for you.